Good morning, everyone. This will be a video in a series I hope to do more about, which is Jesus' words only in the news. So if you get an article published somewhere in a local newspaper or an online newspaper type entity, this is a great thing to share with everyone else, that you are finding a forum that you can speak the truth about Jesus and what he teaches. So there's a Pathway Christian newspaper in the Toledo, Ohio area, and James Maciars was able to have an article published by it, and it's very good. And we're going to read it. It's a short, very short article. I'm just going to read it. This is what it looks like inside the online version of the newspaper, but apparently it's handed out as a newspaper as well. And so we'll just begin reading. Kingdom of Heaven. In the book of Acts, the Apostle Peter gave an explanation to the people of that time as to who Jesus really is. And many of us today would do well to hear his explanation. That means Peter's explanation also, because there is nothing more important than to understand this. Acts 3, verses 22 to 23. For Moses truly said unto the fathers, A prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren like unto me. Him shall you hear in all things, whatsoever he shall say unto you. And it shall come to pass that every soul which will not hear the prophet, and I want to make a point, hearing and listening is in the biblical sense always will you obey? It's a synonym for obedience. If you will not hear or obey that prophet, you shall be destroyed from among the people. So this is the Yahweh saying this to Moses, and this is from Deuteronomy 18. Just add that in. It's verses 16 to 19. Peter is speaking of Jesus Christ. Let's go over here. Peter quoted from Deuteronomy 18 to 19. Okay, so there's more verses to that whole passage, beginning at 16, if you want to read the whole thing. Where the Father in heaven is speaking directly to Moses, I will raise up a prophet from among their brethren like unto you, and will put my words into his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my word, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. So that's what it actually says, will require it of him. And Peter is construing that to mean you will be destroyed from the people of God if you will not obey this prophet. The meaning of I will require it of him is as follows. The commands that Jesus gave came directly from the Father in heaven. So therefore, the commands must be obeyed. If one was to think that they can disobey his command, there will be no excuse. Now, just to make an intervention here is, Jesus at the Transfiguration has God Yahweh speak over his head, listen to him, basically quoting this passage of Deuteronomy. Just read the words in verse 18 to 19 that James had quoted here. Hear him or listen to him. And that's how God put the imprimatur on Jesus to be the prophet. But for a lot of other reasons, Jesus is the prophet. Okay, so let's keep reading. The Gospel of John records Jesus certifying this very prophecy in John 12, verses 44 to 50. Jesus cried and said, He that believes on me believes not on me, but on him who sent me. I am come a light unto the world, that whosoever believes on me should not abide in darkness. And if any man hear my words and believes not, I judge him not, for I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that rejects me and receives not my words has one that judges him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me. He gave me a command that what I shall say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever speak, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, so I speak. That's exactly the kind of prophet he had to be what to fulfill the prophecy of Deuteronomy 18. Jesus' spoken words are the lifeline for each one of us. There are no other words to depend on in order to be saved. Jesus said that he came so that those who believe should not walk in darkness. Walking in darkness and believing in Jesus seem to be polar opposites. Yet Jesus said it himself, that you might believe in him and still walk in darkness. He did not say shall not walk in darkness, but he did say should not walk in darkness. Should and shall are not the same word. Should is referring to a possible event or situation. Shall is an instruction or command, something definite. We all know someone who believes in Jesus but does not follow or obey him. And just to point, I'm going to digress here for James, is Just read chapter 8, beginning around verse 30 to verse 37. You'll see a couple of Jewish people who believe in Jesus. And then he says to them, Jesus says to them, but you know what? If you want to be truly free, you have to become my disciples and follow me. And that was just way too much for them. And they get angry at Jesus for asking them to do something more than just believing in him to have eternal life. He's saying, Jesus then says, if you're a slave, they're saying we're free. And he says, no, you're not free, because anyone who keeps sinning is a slave of sin. And that was just too much for him. And then Jesus says, now you want to kill me. And eventually he says they're the son, they've become the son of their father, the devil. So this became a very obvious proof that faith alone, just believing in Jesus, isn't going to get you to heaven. You've got to follow Christ, obey him, obey his words, become his disciple. But I digress for James. I'm sorry, James. I hope, but I mean, is this not a wonderful teaching? Great teaching, James. That person should not walk in darkness, but that person is walking in darkness. Jesus said that those who will not obey his words will be judged by his words, the great white throne judgment, as it is also known. Everything is recorded in his books. Jesus' spoken words, also known as his voice, is the only way into his kingdom. End of article. Great job, James. Thank you. And thank you for spreading the good news of Jesus Christ, the true news of Jesus Christ, the message of Jesus. How to be saved is to what? Follow Jesus, follow his commands. And he says in John, I think it's 13:16, the apostle is not greater than the master, than is the one who sent him. And we have inverted the relationship between Jesus and others. So God has used and anointed, I think, James Maciars to do a wonderful job here and get this published. So just want to commend James. And if any of you also are successful in doing something similar to this, let us know. And I suggest maybe we just all duplicate this passage, this message of James, because it's really spot on. It's a great way to introduce people to the true Jesus Christ. Okay, God bless everyone. Take care. Ciao. Bye.